Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. Our guest is Fredrik Strng, who is now at the height of 5,100 meters on the toughest mountain of the world, K2. He will share his impressions from the mountain and he's calling from the satellite phone. Hi Fredrik, how are you doing back there?
Our collaboration just a couple of months ago, and some of you hopefully have seen some of the videos that I have provided. If you're not seen it, you should definitely have a look at it. To give a quick recap, we together are going to climb the toughest mountain in the world. I am going to do it physically, and you guys, you are going to help me and support me, which you do, to get to the top and safely back down again. And this is a metaphor to inspire not only business-wise, but also private-wise, to reach new targets, new goals. And I think that K2, the toughest mountain in the world, resembles that kind of a spirit, that kind of a goal setting. K2, which I'm standing or sitting in front of right now in base camp, it's both a very, very majestical looking mountain, but also a very intimidating mountain. If you do this kind of a business, you have to have not only the knowledge, you have to have the physique, but you also have to have the humbleness and the respect to the mountain. There are too many expeditions in the past where they think that nature obeys humans' wish. I couldn't disagree more. I think that in order to succeed on a mountain such as K2 and also in business, you have to be very street smart. You have to listen, you have to learn, you have to be extremely a good listener and follow the signals that you get. And if the signals are right, then you go for it. If it's not, like it's right now, then you sit tight and wait for better weather. So we have had 2 days of pretty miserable weather, been snowing constantly, and this is part of the game. You win some, you lose some. And I think the patient ones, I think the goal-oriented and the people who are have high expectancy in life, they are the ones in the end who are going to succeed. So right now I'm sitting here. I'm going to eat dinner soon. It's going to be goat. We actually brought in a goat on the trek that takes 7 days into base camp. So it was basically walking food. And we are not wasting anything. You have to be extremely resourceful when you climb. So we had the brain for lunch yesterday, and the eyes. I prefer the brain before the eyes, actually. And also, everything we got here right now is what we got. There's no FedEx, there's no 7-Eleven. So if anything breaks, we have to fix it. And we can't rely even on helicopters, which is run by the military in Pakistan. If something goes wrong, it could be health-wise, technology-wise, anything, equipment-wise, we have to be able to remedy, to fix it, to and have a backup plan for this. So I'm glad that this system works, Natalie. The Skype connection, that's awesome. And well, this is just a small little recap of where I am now, what I'm going to do the next hour, and how we came to be.
Yeah, really interesting. And by the way, you mentioned Skype. That's really fantastic that we were able to make such a call. But what other technical devices do you use there on the mountain?
Well, for the most important thing is the data. It's the information that we get from the technical devices we have. So, for instance, something that I've been monitoring quite every day so far is the saturation level. And that gives you feedback on how well you acclimatize to altitude. And normally, a person on sea level have around 98-99% saturation level. So when I came here 4 days ago, I was at 83, and now I'm at 91. And that gives me information that I'm acclimatizing well, So it also means that I can go higher. Which we are going to do tomorrow, hopefully to Camp 1. What I'm holding in my hand is a satellite device. I mean, that gives me connection not only to you guys, but also to the world updates and so on, which is fun. But the most important thing with it is weather data. So the weather data is a boring thing, a very Swedish thing, I think, to talk about weather. But it's also a very K2 thing to talk about weather. Because we're so dependent on good weather and also reliable weather data. And how we interpret this data is even more important, because you get a lot of diagrams, you like get a lot of percentage things here and there, and what we're looking at is trends. We're looking at trends that's longer than 3 days if we're going for the summit. So we see a change in direction of winds and a higher pressure, and that winds are dropping down, and also precipitation. We know that, okay, this is not only a coincidence, this is nothing that's going to last for a night, this is probably going to last for a couple of days. That gives us enough time to go up and down safely. So that's what we're looking at. And of course, I mean, there's a lot of other things we have. The technological devices such as GPS to point out on the map where we are, where we leave our stuff. We have altitude meter, we have pressure meter, which also gives us feedback on if there are any changes in the pressure, which, if there is, we know there either good weather or snowfall coming in.
Okay. Oh, sounds great. I wanted to also tell to other participants, to Fredrik, that everyone else is muted. So if you would like to ask Fredrik a question, please write it in the chat. We have the first question for you, Fredrik, and it's from Faith George. She asks, how many people are in your group?
We are 3 in my group. It's me, Ali Musa, and we also have a chef cook, Abbas. And chef cook is staying here in the base camp at 5,100 meters. Meanwhile, me and Ali Musa from Pakistan are going to climb the mountain together. But that's not the only expedition on K2 this year. We have around 5 big groups. I consider our group as a very small one, small but efficient. And the 5 big groups are, most of them are commercial groups that are joint expeditions from different nationalities around the world. And one of the most important things when you come together at a congregation like this is building up a very smart strategy how to climb this mountain. Because if we will be about 50 people on the mountain, that's nothing compared to what Everest can be, like 2,000 people. But if we're 50 people on the mountain, we need a strategy, we need also a plan in how to climb it so we do not disturb people and cause any accident, because that's the last thing we want. That is why everyone has a role on the mountain. So for instance, what we're going to do tomorrow is carry 400 meters of static rope to Camp 1. This static rope is very important to use to climb not only up and down, carrying loads, which we do to establishing different camps, but also coming down safely. And if we don't have good enough ropes, it means it will take a long time to rappel down the mountain. And if it's bad weather, that can mean that you get stuck. So everyone has a role to play on this mountain. And I think we are good, strong people here this year, which is promising.
Yeah, that's really important that you know about the other groups and help others out. And you actually answered the question that we had from one of our employees as well. I have another one, which is the question of how does it feel to be on K2 again after 9 years? Is it much different?
Well, we can see the physical difference is enormous. I mean, the global warming pays its toll on the mountain. When I was here in 2008, there was big seracs, which in French means big ice. So big ice cliffs all around. These are now terminated. They are extinguished. So now it's like a big football field. of ice. So that's one of the most big differences in the features on the mountain. Also, if I look up the mountain, the skyline, there's something called the bottleneck and the Serac. This is a fearful and I would say technical place where we have to tackle when we climb. This one now, due to global warming, has melted, so it's not as steep as it used to be. I think maybe that's a handicap. I rather have a challenge, but I don't complain because it also means that it's safer. When it comes to my personal perspective, I have a long history with K2. After all, K2 is the king of mountains, and I was here during 2008 at the tragedy when unfortunately and tragically 11 people perished. It is a burden to carry, and definitely it has made remarks on both my mental side and how I attack and how I approach life in general. The most important thing is that safety is key. I do not guess. There's no guess thinking. There's either you know or you don't, and if you don't know, you go down. If you know, then you go. So I think that today, the Fredrik who is here today compared to 2008, it's a very mature Fredrik. It's a Fredrik who is, I can't say I was that in 2008, but there's no mountain view worth dying for. That's very important. Safety, safety, safety. And check, double check, trouble check. The other thing, and perhaps the fun thing is that it's cool. It's cool to be back. I mean, I love climbing. And sitting here looking at this enormous piece of rock, this giant, that those feel so tempting and so intimidating at the same time. Curious feeling, actually. And sometimes it feels like it's going to fall over you or eat you. It's so big. It's enormous. And on the other side, it's North Peak, another 8,000 feet. So I'm sitting here, and it's actually a privilege. And I'm so thankful to actually be here again, to test my skills and my abilities, and try to reach the top of K2, and to show that for all of you, Sigma.
Oh, that's really fantastic and unbelievable experience that you have now. I wonder if we have time for a few more questions, Fredrik?
Oh, yeah.
What did I say? We have a quite technical one here, and then another one from me. The one that we have here is, what type of crampons do you use? Is it aluminium or steel? And what ice axis have you chosen to climb with? Really technical guys here.
That's fun. I don't use aluminum because aluminum will wear out and it's not sturdy enough. So it's actually gonna break. The route we climb, it's a very technical route. It's a lot of rock, and we use stainless steel, and it's Karken petrol crampons. And what I use for ice axis, I use the Quarks, the technical Quarks ice axis, which is also from petrol.
Okay, thank you. And another one is, when do you think you will be on the top?
Well, if everything goes to plan, which it normally never does in mountain, you just have to be adaptive, and you have to be alert, and you have to be mindful and take the opportunities that arises. But I think after 15th of July, we are acclimatized. We put up our camp. So then what we're doing then is just monitoring the weather forecast, looking for a great window that is most of all low winds, low precipitation, and we're looking for a window that is at least something like 3 days. So hopefully somewhere in the last portion of July.
Okay. Well, we will not take much more time from you. Thanks a lot for connecting with us. We can see that it definitely feels very overwhelming to be there lots of changes both in weather and nature, and in you, Fredrik. Now it's new Fredrik climbing K2. We're all inspired by your challenge and your progress, and we're all looking forward to hearing more from you and follow you on all possible media.
Thank you very much, guys. And remember, you also have challenges. There are no mountain high enough. So stop dreaming and start more action. That's what I propose.
Thank you, Fredrik. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.